The lawless, unforgiving Old West. One man tried to bury his past, only to discover that some nightmares never stay buried. Newly appointed Sheriff Harley Brogdon thought he'd left trouble behind, until ancient terrors from Native American legend clawed their way out of the cold earth. Bronze Star 2 is the thrilling continuation of the critically acclaimed Weird Western series by Eisner Award-winning writer Mike Barron and legendary artist Pat Broderick, co-creator of Creature Commandos. Return to Cobb's Gap, where every bullet fired is a deadly gamble, and every shadow may conceal an unimaginable horror. The legend rides again, deeper into darkness, into a series of hellish nightmares that will haunt you long after the final page. 2 chilling journeys into the heart of the Weird West await you in Bronze Star 2. Pre-order the pulse-pounding sequel now at bronzestarcomic.com.
Entertainment news today. You're such a dragon gay. Everything sucks and it's no good. That comes out of Hollywood. There's one place you can go to get all your news and info, and maybe even have a laugh or two. You know it's true. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We'll stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark. All those bombs and flops, but need never stops. We will keep going through the night as we keep up the culture fight. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark.
Greetings and welcome everybody to the one, the only Midnight's Edge After Dark. Your favorite show on the interwebs, whether you like it or not. I'm Tom Connors. We've got 70s rock fan with us, aka Brian. How you doing?
Good evening, sir. I am doing very well. Given everything considered, I'm doing very well, given my advanced age.
Why?
And decrepitude.
I
And
thought maybe there
general
was something
all-round
bad.
instability. No, I'm great.
Like you're constipated or something.
Usually the opposite. Usually that's not a problem.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Indeed.
That you're
Indeed.
regular.
A lot of roughage, you know. It's always good to have some roughage.
Yes. And we
I'm at
also
a rough age. I am at a rough age, that's true.
We also have my good friend Mark D with a C, who actually sent me a care package this week with all kinds of fun stuff, including
to show
stuff
off
like
some of that stuff. But there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
It might
there's
take
a
a
lot
while.
of stuff.
Was there some
And I actually
ointment?
found something today when I was throwing the box away that I didn't realize was in there. So I was like, oh.
Well, you got my note. I said make sure you unwrap everything because there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I did. I thought I did, and there was one more thing I found in the end. But like, yeah, this is also another one of my favorite things.
Where's the ointment he sent you?
Yeah, that was one
For
that
chafing.
really needed. But like, of course, this one was a cool one too, and
Oh, I
I
saw
got the
we-
little
we
one
can
up
have
here by my Clobbering Times character.
Good.
But yeah, no, the turtle lamp is great. I can't show that off here.
Yeah, I
but
can't show it now. But
definitely send you a picture when I can here to show
That's
off on
awesome,
Sunday
yeah.
night and stuff like that. But how you been?
Yeah, doing great. Yeah, no, I'm out of Halloween candy, so but I guess I shouldn't be eating too much of that stuff anyway. But finally all out now. No, that's like when you stream. Like, it's great to keep.
How
the
can you already
Halloween
be out of
candy.
Halloween candy?
Because like we had too many kids and they took it all. I was like, damn it.
Then do better.
Damn, Lucy Lou's got a lot of kids.
You gotta do better.
They ransacked us, but
so.
it was a good turnout this year, so
Good.
we didn't buy too much. I like it when we get a couple extra bags of candy left over.
Well,
Keep
of course
going,
you do.
but yeah.
You should shut the doors when you've handed out 350 pieces of candy.
That's right. And here's a man who I know not only loves leftover candy, but I'm sure taxes his kids' candy. The one, the only.
Nick, Nickelodeon.
How you doing, Nick?
Good, man. How you doing?
Spicy.
How you
Spicy.
doing?
Spicy.
I like that you're doing spicy. I feel touched by that.
You came
You
late,
want me
Nick.
to touch you?
I know for first time in a while, I came late, but every now and then I get a bit of an extension.
Well, you're here now. You've extruded into the stream.
Super gay.
Speaking of super gay, I've got a new. I know we're talking of sequels tonight. There's a brand new sequel announcement just been made. We really got to talk about it. So you're gonna have to share my screen, Tom, because it's hot off the presses. The newest Hollywood cash-in sequel.
I can get behind it, in front of it, on top of it,
Oh,
between
dude.
it, wherever they
I
need
got
to
a
be.
great Brokeback Mountain story to share. I know
So
it
it's
does
this-
not involve me,
Oh.
but
It's the
So I-
sequel
I
we've
have
been
one
waiting
too,
for.
but yeah. But this
But
is
where's
good. I'll
Scissor
watch
Creek?
this.
Where's that located? What part? What state? I want to check that
Vermont.
out. I've never been to that
Somewhere
mountain.
beginning with a Y, but I
Vermont,
can't quite
think.
remember.
Yeah, I
Somewhere
don't
begins
remember.
with a
Maybe
Y.
was it? Is it Y? Oh,
Open
okay.
scissoring.
It's,
You better not run with
intercourse,
scissors either, yeah.
near intercourse, I believe.
So,
wherever
I
it
went
is.
to a I've documented on here that I went to a trade school. It was dominantly like a black school. I was the minority, and there's this one classmate I had. He was one of those rare classmates where he was in every class of mine. He's like, "Hey Nick, you ever heard that movie Brokeback Mountain?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course I have." He's like, "Oh, so I was kicking with the wife, begging her, can we watch Lord of the Rings?" He's like, "No, honey, I want to watch something else." He's like, "Oh, what do you want to watch?" He's like, "I want to watch that Brokeback Mountain." All right, fine, whatever. No Lord of the Rings. And yes, he was a black man who loved Lord of the Rings. He was.
I was gonna say he sounds like quite the character with that voice.
He was super gangster, but he loved the Lord of the Rings. It was the wildest thing because he dressed up super gangster, but he loved those movies. He was a fun guy. His name was Rashi. If you're out there, Rashi, please hit me up. But he's like,
that
yeah,
was a hell of a voice you had there.
but I'll finish it. But Rashi is like, yeah, so we order pizza, get ready for a movie. And then we're watching a movie. I'm like, oh, some weird romance movie. Oh, shit. They're doing some gay shit. What the hell?
Well, if Hollywood wants to make a ton of cash, that's the sequel they should do.
He
Scissor
had
Creek.
no idea. He was clueless. He had no idea. So I thought that made it even better.
Read by Nature's. What about Thelma and Louise 2? Two girls, one
Yeah, I
cliff.
like it.
Yes.
Been fooling about with it for a few months now.
Don't lick my lip pump.
Yeah, it takes
Did
too
you-
long to get to the punch.
I know I've
Yeah,
told
did
the
he-
story,
did he-
but... Sorry,
Well, I
go
was just
ahead.
gonna say quick. Did he watch the Crying Game? As you should recommend him to watch the Crying Game next, Nick.
If he finds me, I will happily recommend that to him. But the fact that he had no idea he was that oblivious.
The Crying Game. That film's a real hidden gem. So I told this story before, and so my apologies for repeating it.
Share
But
it
my
again.
my older brother, when I was a kid, went to the movies with my mother for whatever reason, and he wanted to go and see a movie called Midnight Cowboy, and he thought it was a western. So they went to see Midnight Cowboy.
That's funny because
Somehow
that's
it didn't turn out how they expected.
that story is similar to my Brokeback Mountain story. because
Oh, let's hear your.
I think
Brokeback
most of the I think most of the audience has heard this in part of the cast, but yeah. Okay, back when I was working at like a mom and pop shop when that movie initially came out, but it hadn't actually came out when I had procured a copy of it. Let's say, because since it came out later in the year, it was an Oscar bait movie, so they had Oscar screeners for it, and I had this buddy who would bring me screeners all the time. And he'd just throw them at me, telling me what they kind of were, and I'd be like, okay, cool. Well, and then sometimes I'd hand them off to friends or whoever. Well, and he's like, here's this, here's that, here's this movie. It's like a Western with Heath Ledger and that Gyllenhaal guy. Like, all right, whatever, and just moving on. It doesn't have a cover. Like, you guys got to understand, there's no cover, there's no nothing. It's just
Was it
a disc
VHS or DVD?
No, it was a DVD, but it just had like Brokeback Mountain written on it in fucking marker, right? Like, it was just a burnt disc. He copied from an Oscar screener, or somebody did, and he got a hold of it. However, it worked out.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so like I would once in a while give them out to friends or family or whatever, just like especially if there were movies I wasn't that interested in or wasn't worried about seeing right away. And that just didn't really ring anything in my head, and especially at that time, I don't even think Heath Ledger was somebody who was even on my radar. And that the Gyllenhaal, I could give a shit less about. So, I knew my mom liked westerns and stuff. So, so I gave her that with a few other movies. And, I had the same thing to her at the spiel. I told her about each one of the movies. I said, oh, here's one. It's a western. I didn't even probably tell her who was in it. I just said it's a western, I guess, or whatever. You know?
Yeah.
So, like, time goes by, like maybe a week, 2, somewhere in that region. It wasn't very long. And then the movie drops, right? Like, so like everything came out about like all of a sudden, because you guys know this on the panel, but some of the younger folks in the audience might not recall or understand this. But there was a time when the internet existed, but still everything didn't like get spread right away, especially about movies.
It didn't
and
revolve
spoilers.
around the internet.
Exactly.
Yeah, it wasn't
Like,
the
so
main
it took
source of news.
No, it wasn't until it hit like network television where like the whole talk of this Brokeback Mountain movie was going on. And I'm like, oh shit. So I call my mom. I'm like, Ma, like just make some chit chat, normal talk. And eventually I got to like, so get around to watching any of those movies I sent you, especially that Brokeback Mountain one. She's like, oh yeah, that one was interesting. She said,
well, what's wrong with your mother? Does your mother not like romance movies? What's wrong with her?
No, it's just, I would have given her a heads up at least, especially back then, man. I mean, we
Somebody
got
a heads up, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely give him a heads up on that. Like, she's cool with it and all, like, or whatever. But it was like, she's like, kind of like it did kind of take me by surprise. Is basically what she said.
So you're saying, Tom, though, that you bought that screener. You bought that screener.
I never paid for any.
Or
of it,
I was going to say because what I heard out of all that was that you buy gay movies.
Well, this guy kept trying to give me Doctor Who movies too, like or seasons. And he kept trying to. I still have them somewhere in place, probably. Like, give me a whole ring of, like, like I got this stack here. Like, he gave me almost like a whole thing of these ones, right?
Oh,
of just a bunch of Doctor Who, like when they restarted back in the early aughts or whatever it was.
Eccleston stuff.
Yeah, so he gave me all that stuff. He's like, you gotta watch this stuff, because I'm sure you just wanted to come in and nerd out with me on it. I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And I tried watching some of it. It's just,
you just put your coffee mug on that, don't you?
Yes, basically. No, I wish I was into Doctor Who, but anymore it's just too sexist.
They're not going to release the album because they have decided that the cover is sexist.
Well, so what? But what's wrong with being sexy? I mean, there's no
Sexist.
Anyway, Goddess of Whim is in the house. Well, hello, the lovely Goddess of Whim, who is a wrench and a friend of the channel and a supporter, of course, especially with the super chats like this one for $5. Thank you so much for the tip. And the super chat, which says, got to see Back to the Future yesterday. Great Scott! On the 70th anniversary of Doc discovering time travel. That's right, November 5th, 1955. It was heavy. Heavy. There's that word again. Is there something wrong in the future with the Earth's gravitational pull? It was cool what I watched today. One of Chris's early films. Does anybody else here seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
Oh,
before?
God, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's great.
Saw that in the cinema when it came out.
Well, of course you did, because you're like 106. Yeah.
I'm that old, yes.
You saw it in a senior discount probably then.
I did, yes. It was at the seniors club, the library.
Yeah, the senior club. No, better yet, Brian was in the movie. He's one of the background guys.
Well,
I guess they don't show that for.
I was Nurse Ratched.
Holy shit! If you're that old, then you make Joe Biden look youthful. Holy shit!
Yeah.
They don't show that in institutions on like movie night, do they? I'm sure.
I doubt it.
Probably not.
Show it in
Well, didn't they change so many of the practices since the original play that they make sure that, because like I noted that this time watching it, that they make sure it's like 1963 in the movie.
It's a wonderful movie though.
Because I would say some of those things I don't even think they did anymore after that. Because like the whole movie.
Lobotomies were pop. Yeah, I mean they were. I shouldn't say popular, but yeah, it was a medical practice. I mean, the Kennedys lobotomized one of their daughters. I mean,
Right.
So,
but I was going to say,
I
even
mean,
by 1975, when the movie came out, wasn't that starting to get a little more taboo?
Yeah,
Some
yeah. That was
electroshock
they
and some of the
realized
other stuff that they
electroshock.
did.
There's some
Yeah.
great moments in that movie, but my favourite is when Jack Nicholson finds out that the rest are all in there voluntarily. And he's like, what the?
Why didn't you fuckers try to tell me? I've been giving Nurse Ratched a hard time, and you knew. I love that. Yeah,
You
no,
could
it's a
leave
great
at any
fucking movie.
time. Yeah.
No, but I was watching it with my girlfriend who's never seen it before, and I said basically all this movie is when this is the definition of when an immovable object meets an unstoppable force, and not only that, it's basically the whole gist of it is Jack may not be crazy going in, but fucking Nurse Ratched ends up making him go crazy. And she gets off on this shit. She is a legitimate masochist. She is
stone cold. Yeah.
She is, and I mean, she's obviously the villain throughout the film. And, she even noticed too, I'm like, how her therapy is just basically humiliating everybody constantly.
Yeah. She's got the power.
It's just a great fucking movie. It just came out on 4K. Check it out. But Back to the Future.
Oh, it's on 4K for the first time?
Yes. Yeah. It looks great. Yeah.
I'll have to grab that. Why was Jack in the? Why did he get committed? It's been a couple years since I saw.
You don't remember? Okay, so first of all, he was
yeah.
in for statutory rape for sleeping with a 15-year-old girl.
Oh, and then they put him in an institution for that?
You got to remember. You got to see here, Doc. She was 15 going on 30, okay?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
When that little red beaver gets in your face, man. That's what he says. But anyhow, he got in trouble for fighting on work detail. And I can't remember he kept fighting with people, so they claimed he was being too violent. And he was trying to play up that he was nuts. Because he thought,
like a clinger,
as you pointed out, he thought he'd have it easy for his last 60-some days and get off his work detail. Even the one main doctor says that, or the main guy at the facility says that at the beginning. And then when he finds out, like you said, he finds out that it doesn't matter, that he only had 60-some days left. It doesn't count in the nut house. They keep you as long as they want, and then they let you out whenever they're ready to let you out.
Yeah,
so,
the ending of that movie is just so tragic.
Oh, it's tragic,
so
but I mean, Jack sums it up when he says that Nurse Ratched likes to play a rigged game, right? Like, 'cause that's the whole movie is a rigged game.
Yeah.
She has all the power. She has all the cards in her hand, and she's a mean ass bitch when she has every opportunity to let him go back because she knows he's not crazy, right?
Oh yeah.
But she decides to keep him there for clearly just to fucking torture him some more. Exactly. So yeah, no. Anyway, I didn't mean to go on that tangent when Goddess brought up Back to the Future, but I'm sure we could also wax on Back to the Future quite a bit too. I don't know if anybody else here got to see it in the theater. I know my son got a chance to go see it. I wanted to get my hands on one of those popcorn buckets, but I didn't get to. Professor R2 got to.
You don't have to see it now.
I
You can
saw
always
one on
jump back.
display, and I was so tempted to just take it, and I couldn't. It was.
What were you saying, Brian?
I was just going to say, you don't have to see it now. You can jump back in time later and see it anytime.
Gotta get back in time.
Think about it.
I only have 5 copies of the movie, 2 of them on 4K.
That was gay and retarded.
You just summed me up.
Oh, man.
You defined me.
Oh.
You defined
Back
me.
to the Future is a perfect fucking movie, right? Like, I mean, I just watched
dude.
all 3 of them last week, during the October period, because part of the bit of it takes place in October, then you can watch them in November and all that kind of stuff. So I watched them like 2-3 weeks ago.
Oh, so good. So good.
Yeah. But I'm glad you got to see it, Goddess of Whim. Hopefully you enjoyed your experience and it was a decent theater. She listened to the Back to the Future soundtrack before. Well, that's cool. That's the way to prepare. There you go. I do need one for each room in my house. Well, in case I want to watch it again, bud. Well, the reason I bought it this time, and it's because they add another bunch of special features to the fucking thing every 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's got good special features because a lot of times I don't want to
adding
bother.
shit to it. So, like the last one, they had another new edition of special features, and then now this time they have a whole nother new disc of special features.
Extra special features.
So, and even more special features, yeah.
So they got to make it worth purchasing it. I'm like, yes, Back to the Future be on my list of like all-time favorite movies, and there's like a 4K must-buy list, and like maybe a 4K if it's like on sale, and like I'm fine with Blu-ray. Like that's my movie tier list. So, I mean, but especially if they have really added special features, and that might bump a movie up to that must-have.
Part of the reason I decided to go with this rebuying Back to the Future at least one last time was because the last time they put it in one of those stupid books where you have to slide the discs in and out of the sleeve.
And they ruined
And I
them.
hate that. I had a problem with the Blu-ray set too because they also had a unique, shitty design for the case. But now they just brought them out in straight, flat, black, standard Blu-ray cases in a standard box. You know, just like a regular old trilogy. It's like, thank God they got the hint that that's what fans want. But anyhow, that being said, we should talk about the other sequel that was announced soon here. And Gotta Swim, thank you again for that. We appreciate the support. And ActionCom says, look up Brokeback Mountain parody trailers. Oh, maybe we will if we have some time at the end here. Jason Webster says, I prompted ChatGPT and Perplexity AI search engines to choose winners for each category for the 98th Oscars. One battle after another didn't win one. Well, I'm kind of not surprised. I don't see that movie getting nominated, even let alone winning anything. But we'll see. Patrick Robinson says, Michael trailer looks fine. He looks and sounds like Michael. I just worry because it's from the producer of Bohemian Rhapsody. They're going to change events. You don't hold on to that thought, Patrick. I should have read that before I read it out loud because I would have held on to it. But thank you for the support, my friend. And yeah, let's talk about this because I know Brian's only got a limited time. And this is something
I'm getting old. That's true.
Yes, you have a limited time on this earth. Limited time, you're hoping to see Gremlins.
You don't
3.
need to rub it in, though.
We're getting
you can time travel
in this one here. Yeah.
Get more time.
Yeah, you and your time travel. So what are you worried about?
And that's when the whores come in.
So, all right. So Gremlins 3 has officially been announced. I believe this was announced during the earnings call. Now, look, Gremlins 3 has been announced almost as many times as Star Trek 4. Almost. Actually, it probably has been. But at least this is something that happens every few years. We hear about it. Zach Galligan gets asked about it 12 times from fans and videos pop up online, and he says, I'd love to do it. And it's kind of the same thing here, which we'll get to that in just a moment. But Gremlins 3 sets an actual release date.
Yeah. Well,
and it announces a director. So Gremlins 3 is set for November 2027. And also Chris Columbus will take over as director. For those who may not remember, Joe Dante was the original director, even though Deadline and Variety fucked up and said that Chris Columbus was the original director, and it had to be corrected by not just fans, but even...
was it screenplay he did? Or?
He wrote the original script.
Screenplay.
Now, and if anybody's ever read that version, it bears little resemblance to the final product. Only a few things actually get carried over other than like names and kind of the broad premise. But the original Gremlins script actually has more in common with Critters 2 as far as how it goes. And what happened to Gremlins was, you know, all the rewrites and Steven Spielberg's influence and Joe Dante's influence. And the movie that we know as Gremlins is a much different film than what it was initially set out to be. Chris Columbus wrote it as an R-rated horror film. Like in the first, like the Mogwai, there is no Gizmo, first of all. The Mogwai eat the dog after midnight to become gremlins. They kill Billy's mother and roll her head down the stairs as when he comes home. I mean, that's just a few examples. And another thing is, one of the jokes in the movie is that the gremlins go into a McDonald's, they eat all the people, but they don't touch any of the hamburgers.
They don't touch the
So they're smart.
Yeah.
Exactly. They like implying that the movie, the McDonald's is poison, but they eat all the people.
I like that version. I want that version.
Again, like if you like
Man,
that
you
version,
say
you'll
that's
love
like a
Critters
damn
2,
good
right?
time.
Because yeah, I mean, there's a lot of similarities in Critters 2, and there was other things about the Gremlins that were way different. And I could go on for a while, but Brian, I know you wanted to say a few things before you had to leave us, so go ahead and give us your thoughts on this.
I think it's. I mean, much as you can't be encouraged about anything these days, it probably is looking pretty good for this, given that, you know, Zaslav has announced that Warner Brothers, despite one or two flops, have done pretty well, and it's got a couple of big names behind it with Spielberg and Chris Columbus. So
It's being written by the guys who did the recent Final Destination film, I guess.
yeah,
as well.
so it seems relatively untainted by failure being attached to it, if you could put it that way. So it could be a lot of fun. Now, are they planning to make it PG-13 again, or maybe they're going to have to invent PG-14 for this one? They're going to have to go
I
one
get that
PG
reference.
more. They're going to have to go one PG more. For
This one
yeah.
goes to 11.
Yeah, because they created PG-13 for it.
Any more gremlins in a microwave?
Yeah, oh, I hope so.
I hope there's 12 in a microwave. this time.
Well, what could they do now that there was I mean, there's more technology now.
The fucked up part about PG-13, exactly. Yeah, like this movie would barely be rated. The original film would be barely rated PG-13 by today's standards in one case. Because in most cases, as long as it's not red blood, they will let you get away with a lot of shit now.
Because I think wasn't the only controversial scene that microwave scene, or for kids, or and the mix.
No, there was
there
was a few things. There was the mixing scene. There was that whole kitchen scene is kind of a problematic scene, but not to mention the biggest scene that really gets the people's goats with that rating is the fucking joke that Phoebe Cates tells. I know people are like, what do you mean a joke? Well, it's really kind of a joke. It's a setup for a punchline, right? Like when she tells the story about how our father died, and the punchline is, and that's how I found out there is no Santa Claus, right? Like Joe Dante fought tooth and nail to keep that fucking scene in the film, and everybody and anybody said, why are you leaving this in? There's no reason to have this in the movie. And he's like, yes, there is. First of all, it pays off all the shit that she's talking about throughout the entire film and why she hates Christmas. And then it's also kind of the whole tone of the movie, right? It's one sadistic, dark joke, right? This kid literally gets a gift given to him that consumes the entire town, right? Like, there's so much going on in the original Gremlins. I could go on and on and on and on about it. Then you get to Gremlins 2, which is a whole different kind of fucking mogwai, right? Like, because that movie is just commenting on the absurdity of the first film, right? On top of just saying, what if we just made a Looney Tunes movie for 90 minutes? Like, that's really what it is. So anyhow, I don't know if you're looking forward to this or not, guys. Let's.
I'd be okay with
Brian finish up his thoughts and we'll move on.
I'd be okay with the same tone as Gremlins 2. We need Looney Tunes tone.
I mean, that's the thing. How do you do with a tone here? Do you kind of do something that's in the between of the two? Do you go more dark comedy like the first film, or do you go more like goofy Looney Tunes comedy like the second film? That's the question, I guess.
I don't know. I think I would almost be tempted to go the second way, the lighter Looney Tunes tone.
You almost have to now.
Yeah, I think. So they get the broadest possible audience.
Self-referential and all that kind of stuff, yeah.
But I mean, could there be allegories in it? Because the Gremlins are transitioning in some way at a certain point.
Well, the allegories in the films were always about the technology, right? Because in the first film, you had Billy's dad, who was an inventor who kept making things that didn't work.
Well,
right?
That's what I'm saying. What could we do?
And the second film was the Clamp Smart Building. They literally called it a smart building, right?
Yeah. So what could we do now? I'm trying to think of technology advancements now that would be something.
That's what I'm saying. Gremlins 2 is kind of ahead of. It was so ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know if they could. You almost have to go back to the serious version, I guess would be my argument. And that was kind of where I would go with part 3. But my version of part 3, the farther they get farther away from it, the dumber it would look. But like my idea was just basically, kind of bring it back to more serious, tie it more into the first film.
Well, given the screenwriters, it's probably going to be more serious.
It does look like it's got. Well, yes. Look, I'll tell you what. The last Final Destination movie was fucking hilarious.
Well, they're funny. Yeah, they're not.
They're funny, but they're not funny in like a same way a Gremlins film is. I don't think. But maybe that tone can translate. I don't know, but
maybe. Yeah.
We'll have to see here. But Mark, what do you think about this? I know you were alive when the original one came out. So
yeah, so I mean, it was it was a huge hit when it came out. So people love Gremlins, and I'm glad they didn't go the horror route.
People forget that the sequel bombed horribly, unfortunately. But
yeah, everyone remembers that the first one, and just the cute. It's such a cute idea, and then it mixes with Twilight Zone. It's like Yoda gone bad, kind of in a way, that lovable, alien, and it's I don't know what would the tone be. I mean, horror is just so popular right now, too, right? Of all the movie genres, I would say horror is probably kicking literal ass at the box office.
I think you'll probably see horror with a twist of
comedy,
humor,
yeah. But I think they might go a little bit darker.
Maybe we'll go Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'd like to, just all these sequels. It's like they do them, but there's got to be a reason to do it. Like I finally watched Spinal Tap, part 2. There's lots of it. I did like some of the bits. Yeah, well, it is Spinal Tap, isn't it? But
part deuce.
I mean, if you don't want to tap it, you can tarp it, I guess.
But it's like, did they have to make that? I mean, I'm not, I'm kind of mixed on it. I enjoyed seeing the guys together, get the band back together. And there was some really fun bits in, like Paul McCartney was comedy gold in that. It was hysterical. I love that. But yeah, could I have lived without it? Yeah. So it's like with this movie, like they didn't make, they didn't. Spinal Tap didn't make, make the band look bad, or it was, it was fun. They didn't do any damage to their brand. Like Gremlins, you gotta have a good story, and they just Hollywood just screws up so much. Like Tom, you should be in charge of Gremlins 3. You would do a kick-ass movie. You're Mr. Gremlins, right? So, we always would joke with
Yeah,
Clobber
I'd
and
love
Tubbs.
to, but
Right, they do a FF movie. He
Tom
should be in
play
charge,
a gremlin
right?
in it, I think. I mean, it could screw up, but they've given it enough impetus with enough people behind it so far that don't appear to be screwing up too much that it might stand a chance. And it is Warner Brothers. It could be okay. Could be okay. Could be sold by then. Maybe it'll never happen.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah. And kids' movies do really well too at the box office. So if this is geared towards kids, but it's
Well,
a
I was
little,
thinking that
a
Five
little
Nights at Freddy's type feeling
Yeah.
to it. I mean, that's a little beloved. My grandchildren love it, that's for sure. So that could be what they're aiming for. That feeling.
Yep.
Indeed.
No, so,
But
well,
it's
yeah,
never
like-
it's never been something I've been nuts about. Gremlins. It's a couple of movies I enjoyed back in the day, and I mean, Tom's much more a fan in that respect. So he's the man that needs to judge whether this is the right move or not. But he won't, because he's not talking to us.
Where's Tom? Did he get Gremlin?
Where's Tom?
He probably
He
went to go
did.
get some Gremlins. He probably went to go get
He
some
was in the
Gremlins.
microwave. He just got
Nick, what do you think
exploded.
of Gremlins?
Oh, well, I love both movies. I even love the sequel. And from what it seems like, as time went on, obviously, I only saw the sequel in my, I think, middle school years. I could be off on that. I think middle school years was when I first saw it. I didn't see the sequel for a long time at that, but eventually, somewhere later in life, I saw it, and I loved it just as much as the first one. So it was weird to hear that it bombed, because I thought the sequel was excellent. I don't personally care what tone they go with for the movie. I think it does have potential, but like Mark said, it's not something we necessarily need. It's just yet us once again looking through the well, say, what have we not given a sequel to now? But I actually do feel like with Chris Columbus at the helm, it does at least have potential. So I'll be the first to admit I'll probably see it with some enthusiasm opening night when this comes out, even though we really don't need this movie. We should try maybe give the younger generation their own Gremlins equivalent, rather than just say, hey, have what we had growing up some more, because we haven't given you enough of that.
Indeed.
Is it gonna be called Gremlins the New Batch, or what? Do they have a name for it, or?
It's Gremlins, the nude batch. They're going for a different market.
Thomas B. He must be
Thomas
out
is
in the
good.
world.
So-
It's okay. I guess we're going on, but
You can take over.
Yeah, we got this. So yeah, I mean, 2 years away, it's still a ways away. And that's, the timing is good. So it's clear I do have a thing that they're going to keep kids in mind for, because that tells me if they're going to do November, they're going to try to target around like Thanksgiving week, kids being out of school. You want to have the families there for that. And it's a good gateway for like the kid tone mixed with the more darker elements, because this is a good gateway. If I'm going to be logical here, I'd say it's a good gateway for kids to see darker stuff, because that creature, and especially in the first movie, is one of the most terrifying things still to this day ever. Like out of all the things in any movie ever, I feel like this is a good segue to show them into the darker territory of movies by
It's a
having
great Christmas
something
movie, isn't it?
accessible with something dark thrown into the mix. So tonality wise, it's a great segue for kids and adults. So I think marketing wise, that is a very smart move.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of horror and comedy and horror. I'm a big fan.
Well, in
of it.
Dante, that's where he shined, right? And
Oh,
that's where
yeah.
I got some pause with this, and I'm sorry I had to step away for a phone call quick. So I don't know what I was talked about while I was gone. I'm sure you guys were talking a lot of shit about me. No, I heard Mark mention my name, though.
Just the usual amount of shit, Tom. No more.
But yeah.
No less.
I mean, as asked here by Tom in the chat, when was the last time Chris Columbus made a good movie? I don't remember.
Exactly.
Honestly, I've never thought he was that great. I mean, he was okay director. He's a serviceable director, but most of the movies I know of his, other than Home Alone, were like the Harry Potter stuff that he worked on and stuff like that. What else did he do? That 9-month movie with Hugh Grant. I'm trying to remember what else
Can't
he's
think of
directed.
anything else. Yeah.
He was more well known and got more of his notoriety from writing the original version of Gremlins and then working on Goonies, from my understanding. And then from there, I think maybe didn't he have something to do? Did he direct maybe Mrs. Doubtfire or something like that? I'm
Mrs.
trying to remember.
Doubtfire, yes, Mrs.
I was gonna say
Doubtfire.
there was something else in there too that he had that was
Which
big
is,
besides Home
of course,
Alone,
is
but
now
yeah.
32 years ago, is it not?
Yeah,
it's
so
quite a while back. Yeah.
look, I mean, can he handle it? Probably. With the writers, maybe. But Dante, I'm kind of like, fuck, you kind of need him. He was that tone in part one
He's
and
got
two.
a very individual sensibility.
Yes. Yeah.
with
He
a sort
knows
of
how to handle this
slightly
shit.
surreal.
He's a lot like a Sam Raimi.
References. Yeah.
He's kind of like a Sam Raimi in that respect, that he knows just how to take it up to that line.
Yeah.
And then also do it the other way too, right? To make it, we're gonna be hammy, but I'm gonna throw some scary shit in there, right? So I mean, and that's where the second film is the opposite, right? So the first film is it's gonna be scary, but I'm gonna throw some funny shit in there. Second film's all funny, I'm gonna throw some scary shit in there. So like I said, what do you do with the third film? And I think Mark even mentioned my idea. What it would have been, simply, it would have just been that, you know, it's this many years later, Billy has a family now. Gizmo, you know, is like this huge phenomenon because, you know, at the end, Clamp said that he sees him on, you know, car windows with suction cups and all that kind of stuff. I just figured you'd have, to make it kind of meta and hilarious, I would say, like, to quote Mrs. Doubtfire, you would have the movie start out with an animated thing of Gizmo, and then it, like, zooms out of the screen and you see Howie Mandel doing the animated voice of Gizmo, right? Because he actually does the voice of Gizmo.
He does, yes.
And then you zoom back even farther and you have Billy sitting in a booth with Gizmo.
Gizmo's Canadian, I think you're saying.
Like, you know, that kind of a thing. So he's like working on this animated show since he's a painter and all that kind of stuff and an artist. So that would be his next logical thing. They live in Clamp Corners, which is an exact replica of Kingston Falls. So keep that in mind. So you get where this is going, right? So what also happens at the same time, in the original Kingston Falls, the old police station is moving, so they're cleaning out all their old shit, and they find the box with all the stuff from the night in Kingston Falls, where for all years they just reported it as a mass hysteria. But since the Clamp situation, there's always been these like rumors and talks about gremlins, right? So they actually find what little bit is left of Stripe in this petri dish, okay, and they take it in and they analyze it and they kind of figure out what it is. And they literally extract DNA from it and clone Stripe. Okay, so they actually have a Stripe that they're like testing in this like lab that Kingston Falls sent off to like the state, you know, college or whatever. Well, at the same time, you know, that's going on. Gizmo actually gets, you know, somehow like wet again because you have the parents going on vacation or something like that, and the girl, like a girl or a son or both, you know, are babysitting Gizmo, and that happens. So in the brand new Kingston Falls is the original movie happening all over again with the new gremlins and the new one, but there's a new leader gremlin called the King Gremlin, and then at some point you're going to find a way to get the clone Stripe to fight with the King Gremlin. Was my whole point. Was going to be in the movie, was going to happen. So it was going to be this big like thing where the two of them were going to fight for dominance. And in the end, Gizmo kills them all anyway. So it
like
doesn't
like Superman fighting himself. Yep.
But the thing is, in the catch for Gizmo in this one, instead of being Rambo, he was going to be the Terminator. So he would get the sunglasses and a little leather jacket. And, I'll be back. You know, and that whole thing. Yeah, you can throw in all kinds of new fun gremlins from like some new mutation, like something that Clamp is working on, and like you find out that like, you know, Clamp Corners is actually some secret toxic waste dump or something. You know what I mean? Like, so you get a bunch of mutated gremlins, even worse than the last time. And the beauty of it with, you know, new technology is you can actually make a bigger movie, right? Because that was the problem with the second film, is they always wanted it to be the Gremlins take over New York or the Gremlins take Manhattan, right? But there was no way they were going to be able to do that with that technology at that time without CGI, without, you know, doing some kind of major special effects type thing. But now that's more possible. Now, do I want to see Gremlins in CGI? No. But what I'm saying is you actually have the ability now to do a lot more. Yes, you can throw in some shots and other things, but as long as most of the primary Gremlin action is puppets, I don't think anybody's going to care that much. But I mean, these guys have got to come up with a better story than that. Because I don't know, even know if people in the chat like that story. right? Because I mean, it's really just basically a retread of the first film baked into a new story at the same time, right? And that's to kind of bring it back to that original tone while also playing with some of the tone of the second film.
Indeed.
But Brian, I know you're limited, so do you have any more you wanted to say about it?
At this rate, it'll be out before GTA 6, though. So
yeah, that's one of the other topics we might get to. I don't know if you want to comment on that. That was one that.
I wonder why that's taking so long and why it keeps getting.
It's almost like, when is it not going to be delayed?
When is it? It's getting pushed back and back and back and back.
Yeah, I'm almost like, it's never coming out. We're just gonna skip it.
Maybe
skip it. Go to
it's
7.
gonna be like George R.
R.
Martin's Winds of Winter or whatever. Yeah, it's gonna just keep being announced.
Like at some point, we'll be like, when's there gonna be a GTA 6 at some point? No.
Well, I think what happens is every 4 years they take the woke shit out, then they put it back in again. Then the next cycle they take it out again. So every 4 years they have to take stuff in and out of it, and they never get it finished.
It might look like New York City pretty soon with the new mayor that's in.
What I love about this is how they're trying to frame this as it's all Trump's fault that they're doing this, but it's like they're doing this like they're trying to paint it as some like fear, right? It's not like they're doing it because this is what people actually want. That's the way I love how they're painting it.
The vast majority of the people that worked on the last games are all gone, and the people that are there now don't know what they're doing. That's just my opinion.
That's pretty much every one of these companies, though, anymore, right? Like even Scream Factory, a boutique Blu-ray company that I had my little vendetta against. Yeah. Even they're like the same kind of thing. Yeah,
exactly. So that's an interesting one, but it just further signs of the AAA gaming disaster zone that it is now.
Well, I'm not much a gamer, but one thing I will say about this that I know that sometimes gamers don't understand when they try to say that it's bigger than movies or trying to compare it to movies.
Yeah.
It's a very apples to oranges kind of business, because a game
comparison.
Yeah, because games take a lot more people, a lot more work, a lot more time to put together, and a single game can tank a company now, right?
And strictly speaking, it's a different experience because you can play a game for months.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. They have to foster it. They have to
so it's a different support experience beyond the movie's out. You go to see it, it's gone. Yeah, you might buy it physically or stream it again, talk about it a bit, but a game you can live with for years. You could play with a game for years if you really into it. So
online
different consumption experience, I think.
Yeah, online has changed that too, where you can play. My first game I had to type in BASIC into my 4K Radio Shack color computer, basically on a tape drive. So I've been there from the beginning, but now with the internet, you can play against other people, and it's
I don't do
just
that.
extend and people like
people.
Yeah, and people love getting add-ons for the game. So that's why these games are it's high maintenance too. It's not like the old days you put out a game and maybe it's some patches. Yeah.
So anyway, I know you guys will talk about this again later, and my apologies for dropping out early. But
I want to know what you thought about the Michael Jackson trailer.
I enjoyed it immensely, and I'm hoping it will treat him. I don't want to say fairly. This obviously there's a lot of contentious
it's going to be very biased
around,
in his favor because it's produced by the family and shit. So,
sure, but I mean, he had an incredible legacy. I did notice though, scanning the cast list, that I couldn't see any mention of a Lisa Marie Presley character. So I guess
there's a reason for that. This is supposed to be. It was initially going to be a 2-part movie, and I don't know what's going on with the second part now because of some legal issue that we may talk about here when we get to it. But
But
so if she's going to be in it, it's going to be in the second part probably.
The trailer looked really good. So let's wait and see. Although John Logan writing it, I think he's the writer. I didn't particularly enjoy some of his last 2 or 3 movies, but so let's see what he puts into it. But the other thing I hope, and this is just my bias, I hope they give a hat tip to the great Rod Temperton, who wrote Thriller, as well as Off the Wall.
A couple other songs,
but he wrote Thriller, a man from Cleethorpes in Lincolnshire in England, who once worked in a frozen fish factory in Grimsby, ended up writing Thriller.
Wow.
In his 1-bedroom apartment in some Yorkshire town or wherever the hell he lived.
Actually, he wrote some of the better Michael tunes, actually.
He did.
But anyway.
Well, he was in the band Heatwave, and then he wrote for George Benson and a whole lot of other people, Michael McDonald and stuff, but he wrote Thriller, and so I hope they give at least a mention to him, because that's I know his character isn't in the movie, but
they didn't have any cast credits for anyone involved in any of the sleepovers, I'm assuming, either. They're probably just going to totally gloss that over if it's a family Yeah, that's my problem with Michael Jackson. Like you separate the artist from the music, and nothing's been proven.
I don't know how much they
it's
actually
just
took out, because here's the thing, and here's the reason why the second part. I know Brian's got to leave, so if you got to dip out,
I can
go
hear
ahead,
them
but-
barking. Yeah,
Go
I
ahead
gotta
and plug
go.
your show, but yeah.
Well, I'll plug my latest video, which is on the Who Are You Special Deluxe Edition. 7 CDs, one Blu-ray, audio Blu-ray, Super Deluxe Edition, I
It's a
should
big
say.
piece of wax
audio
in your
Blu-rays
hand.
are awesome.
Not well. It's actually CDs and a Blu-ray audio.
Is
and
it?
a big
Oh,
book.
see,
Yeah, I
I
love
thought-
those
Big book.
sets actually.
I thought
So-
wax in your hands.
Well, there's wax
But
in my
they're
ears.
expensive.
So that's my latest videos. Unboxing, you could call it. This thing.
Nice.
This slab of
Nice.
goodness. There's some great CDs on there. So some great
Slab
live
of
stuff.
Goodness.
Big slab of Who goodness there. So that's it. Check that out. I'll
right.
see you all later on
Take care, Brian.
comics. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Goodbye.
Take care.
All right.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, so we'll get back into the GTA stuff and Michael before we go too far, though. I'm going to read some of these super chats. We got Jason Webster, who says Claudia Wells in Back to the Future 1985 is stunning. I think she still is good looking, yeah. And Jason Webster says Gremlins budget was 11 million, and it had a box office of 212 million worldwide. It did very, very well, and it opened the same day as Ghostbusters. Soul Nightmare sends in 5 and says just got out of Badlands and it was awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear you liked it. Not too many others did. The music, visuals, and action are pretty good. And no, there's no DEI in it. Trachtenberg does it again. Well, glad you enjoyed it.
Well, good.
Good, sir. But with that, let's get back to the GTA thing, because I know Nick's a bit of a fan, I'm sure, of killing hookers.
That's why you don't see me on stream with women.
That's right. He's a killer. No, just kidding. He's a woman killer. No, we're kidding. In GTA, folks, of course. But yeah, so GTA 6 is once again delayed. It looks like till May of 2026. Previously, now November. So not a huge delay, but a bit of a delay. It gets delayed like every few months.
And how the heck are they blaming this on Trump? Are they trying to say it's tariffs or something stupid, or what the heck are they? Are they saying that they don't want to too much the culture of the game? I mean, this game's been around forever, so.
Well, we kind of discussed it, and as brought up before, they did lay off 40 employees for the stuff getting leaked out. So I don't know, because the chances are the people that get leaked this stuff out were the people that were against it. So if they got rid of the few good employees that were there, well, what's left is the fucking queerdos. So like, what the hell are you gonna do? I don't know. This game. I'm waiting for it to be a fucking disaster. Like GTA is due for a bomb anyway. I mean, they've had so much of a good run at this point. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of what critiques you may have about the game, especially after Red Dead Redemption 2, I'm like, okay, these motherfuckers have reached a level where we're going to get to some really cool stuff here really soon with the next GTA and the next Red Dead if they get there. And we've been just sitting here twiddling our thumbs waiting for them to give us something different. Because GTA 5 was cool, but the only thing it really added to the game was just multiple lead characters, right? Like, nothing else about it was really innovative beyond that, unless somebody really kind of remind me. I mean, yeah, there's some advancements, don't get me wrong, but I mean, I don't remember it being that much of a huge leap from GTA 4, right? And so on down the road. But that being said, like, I'm looking forward to this game, but now mainly just because I know it's going to be a disaster. Before this, I was looking forward to it just because I love GTA. It's probably my go-to game, just because I don't really care about the franchise as a franchise so much as it's a fun gaming experience, right? Like, you get into it, you go through the story mode, and then you just sit there and you deck your character out and you just fucking go to town and have fun, right? Like, that's what it's all about. And sometimes when you need to, you just go in and blow some shit up and kill some hookers. You know, like, that's just what it's all
when
about.
that game first came out, the first GTA was it was kind of controversial too, but it was just like you get in your car, like I couldn't believe it. It's like, wow, you can do all this stuff in a game. Where's Tipper Gore complaining about this one? But
yeah.
So people are kind of, I don't know, does anyone care anymore about what's in a video game? I mean, in terms of, the controversy of it, the
Activists care. They
activists,
love
yeah,
ruining
yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
They love ruining fun.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, in that respect, I have no idea how this game is going to turn out other than probably bad. I mean, I don't know if there's really anything they can do to fix it at this point, other than they're probably going to take some things out and then blame it on Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Of course.
stupid, but
Of course, there's always going to be a fallback. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's never the possibility that they just didn't do good on anything. It's always going to have a fall guy because you got to have a dragon to slay.
That's right.
But it's, when I was saying no one cares, it's more like the internal people that are working on the game are the activists now versus like the general public. Like we want a game that's really cool. You can do whatever you want and, not constrained, because that's the whole point of a fantasy or a video game or adult entertainment.
That's what we've always wanted out of any game ever.
Yeah, yeah. But it's kind of a flip, when some games are controversial. I don't know if you had anyone read Computer Gaming World back in the day. I'm sure some people in the chat, and they're like, they had one cover where it was like a vampire game, and there was like the girl that was on the cover, very busty, but she had 2 drops of blood in her neck from where she'd been on the cover, and like everyone went crazy over like the prudes and the crazy people complaining, oh my God, this cover is scandalous. It was nothing. But now it's kind of flipped now, where it's like the gamers want all this cool, fun stuff in the games, and it's the people in the games don't want to do it anymore. They want to shove their message back at everyone else that doesn't want the message.
Look at who they hire. Look at who they hire now to organize it. They hire people rather than get politicians and activists to advocate for these games being this. They're thinking, why not just cut the middleman out and we'll just have someone who's like that, but work directly on the games. And that's where they get to change all the stuff without having to worry about pushback, because, this industry, it seems like much like many other industries, has been taken over by a bunch of hardcore activists. So, yeah, that's definitely where that comes from. That's for sure. I'm not surprised that this is getting pushed back as much as it did. I don't know why they are. I think it'll still do very well when it initially comes out. I'm sure it'll get a lot of sales because there's still a lot of fans out there, and there's a lot of people who still go back and play a lot of the older games. I think what's going to be interesting to see is what's it going to be like 6 months after it's out, 1 year after it's out. I think that's going to be the true tell-all, because it's not innovative anymore to be open world. It's still fun. It still has a lot of advantages, and it still is one of the greatest forms of gaming, like, to this day ever. But as far as the story and replayability, I think that's where it's going to get interesting, because there are going to be people who are going to get curious, even people who say they're not going to care. They'll care at the last minute once it's actually out and they have access to it. So, but I think, the true tell is going to be the fallout after that. Some tells me at the very minimum, I think it's going to be a mixed bag. And here's why. And it's not just because of, the message and whatever they're doing to neuter it, but I think there's also just the constant pushbacks sometimes hypes people's expectations so high that no matter how good it could possibly be, your expectations cannot possibly ever be met because, you waited for so long. And for a lot of people, the longer they wait, the more impatient, resistant, higher their expectations get. And it's hard. It's impossible to meet those expectations. So I think there's going to be some people who are just going to be kind of disappointed no matter what, no matter how quality or not quality the game is. But who knows? Maybe I'll be wrong, and the game will be the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I like bread.
I love bread too, but it's gotta be full on fat-filled gluten.
Well, with that, a man who made a lot of bread. Let's take a look at this trailer, because, this had me a little excited, and we'll talk a little bit more about all the stuff we mentioned earlier. So let's take a look at this from Lionsgate.
I know you've been waiting a long time for this. The tracks are made. The songs are ready. Let's take it from the top. This is your story. Honor your past and embrace the future. That's what people want.
Q, can you lower the lights for me, please?
Okay, but remember, in here, keep those feet still, my man.
Just inject this into my veins now, please. I need this so bad. Damn. That looks good. So yeah, this is supposed to be a 2-part movie, but now the second part is under some scrutiny because they kind of forgot to tell Lionsgate that they couldn't use one of the characters when it comes down to all the accusation stuff. So to answer your stuff, Mark, yes, the second half of this film is supposed to cover a lot of that ground. But what happened was Lionsgate, I guess,
it's
now
a real
has to
person. It's a real person, or
yes, and so they have to redo a bunch of shit now, or I don't know how they're gonna get around.
well, because a lot of times they'll change a name or put in like a composite character that's not.
Yeah, which is what they probably should have done, but I guess they didn't know that they were supposed to do that.
Yeah.
And so now Lionsgate is pissed. I have no idea what's going to happen. This is something we were going to do a video about actually a while back here, but we just hadn't done it. So we just didn't know if there'd be enough interest in it. But yeah, there's some red flags I have. You know, the Bohemian Rhapsody movie took a lot of liberties with the story of
God,
Queen.
that pissed me off to no end when they said the band had broken up. It's like this is not that long ago. It's not like it's 100 years ago. It's like the band didn't break up, and all the stuff about AIDS was not, AIDS was not true in the movie. It was like, what are you doing?
Well, and even that stuff didn't even bother me so much as because they did switch a few things around there, but like there's other things that just made no sense, right? Like because that stuff that you're talking about kind of was all to lead up to where they had, he gets AIDS and all that stuff, and Live Aid leading up to that to kind of make it a triumphant kind of ending to the film.
And so it wasn't. They were together. They were together.
Yeah, I know. I know. And that's what I'm saying.
No, but I mean, like, you want to throw stuff at
reasons.
the screen. I'm like, come on, this is bullshit. It's
the stuff that bothered me more, though, Mark, and I get what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. But the stuff that bothered me more was like the stuff that made absolutely no sense. Like when they wrote We Will Rock You and stuff like that. It's like, this didn't happen then. This happened like 3 years ago. Like, like what the fuck? Like, and some of the stories are kind of twisted in the time. It's like, there's no real reason or rhyme why they twisted them in the time frame. It's like you could have had this happen 3 scenes ago. Like what the fuck?
And then the other thing is, well, now it's been revealed that he's got Freddie had a daughter that was hidden for many years, and she has all his notebooks. You
that was another thing I recently heard about. I haven't heard much about it, but I did hear a little bit about it.
She wants to stay very private. Yeah,
because I mean, that was one thing. Like the movie didn't get into his. The only aspect of his sexuality was just they got to the point where he's like, oh, I realize I'm gay. And they show a little bit of his flamboyantness. It's like, no, motherfucking Freddie Mercury partied like a rock star. Like, literally, like, because he fucked anything that moved. And I'm not surprised if he doesn't have a couple kids out there. It wasn't that he always was just with men either, So, like.
Yeah, he was bisexual, yeah, so.
In a way, yeah, it's not as bisexual as others, but I mean. Yeah,
well, he's got a kid, so
yeah. I mean, well, the movie depicted that he wasn't even kind of sure. That part is somewhat accurate. Is like, as far as I know from the history of Queen, and I followed it pretty closely, and I've seen a lot of the documentaries and stuff and all that. He wasn't even really he didn't really kind of come face to face with it until after the whole thing with. I think he got married, didn't he? Or at least they were living together and all that shit. Because all that stuff in the movie is pretty accurate about that stuff, like.
Yeah.
And he had other girlfriends too, not just her. So like, I mean, before that and stuff like that. So like, it's not like he was ever just totally gay from the start. It just took him a while to kind of come around to it more so. And then in the 80s, it became more flamboyant and he was kind of a big part of that wave. He was one of the first people to kind of come out and flat out just say, I'm gay. Right? Like, even Elton John flip-flopped a bit in that era. And there was a couple other guys who tried to play the, well, kind of game. And it's like, no, you're gay, dude. Like, just accept it. But now Michael, he's had a lot of accusations thrown at him over the years. Tons and tons and tons. And, Razorfist has done some great videos about it. Other people out there have done some great videos about it. I mean, there's a whole lot of conspiracy behind his death and all that kind of stuff. It makes you wonder what they're going to get into movie-wise. Because this isn't Sony putting it out. And Sony's the one that he was constantly battling. But, yeah, I'm curious to see how this movie goes. My feeling about this first part and the fact that they're not calling it like Michael Part 1 or anything like that, it makes me wonder if
they're not. They're not doing that.
I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't
or
heard
maybe they'll
sure
wait to see how this movie does. And, because a lot of biopics are like, one night in the life of a person, or sometimes they do like a really short.
Well, this looks like it covers from Off the Wall up through Bad. Is what it looks like. And I bet you it ends with a big bad something during Bad.
Yeah, and then they
Mike,
can always, if it does well, they can always, hey, let's do, they can come up with the title at that point, right? Instead of
yeah, and then
naming it.
my guess is that the second part, probably knowing that the people, because I predicted, you can go back like fucking what is it, 6-7 years when the Bohemian Rhapsody movie came out 5 years ago. I kind of predicted that movie almost to a T. I'm willing to bet that the second half of this movie ends with the Super Bowl performance. It doesn't end with his death. See, because that's like, they won't show that probably. It'll show that it'll end with his Super Bowl performance, and then it'll end with just a thing on the thing that said Michael Jackson died, on 2010 or whatever it was, or blah 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 blah, all that kind of shit. Yeah.
Did you see the Bruce movie? Did you end up seeing the Bruce movie or Bruce Springsteen?
No, I don't know if I even have any desire to. But I loved.
Well, I was just gonna say, like my wife saw it with her girlfriends, because one of them's a huge Bruce fan, and I can't stand Bruce Springsteen.
Well, I was thinking about it until I found out it's.
I turned the dial gets changed instantly. But she said it was very depressing, covering like she expected like an uplifting movie. So like if you're not expecting that, it's really about his mental illness and possible self-deletion, and she's like, wow,
well, as far as my understanding, it's about one album. It's not even about his whole career or anything like that. So that to me was kind of like, because at least I got the Bob Dylan movie. It's like, okay, the most important part of his career, even though he has a vast career, is probably the folk to electric period, and that's what Complete Unknown covers, right? Obviously, Michael Jackson, same kind of thing. You don't really need to go any farther than the Super Bowl thing. You don't need to see a lot of the controversies later in his life. I mean, some of the other stuff it probably should be there, but I mean, at the end of the day, most people that want to go see this movie just want to, and this is why I give the Queen movie a big pass in a lot of ways, even though I would, like you, had a lot of problems with it.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the performances.
It was a celebration of Queen and their music, right? Yeah. I have a feeling this is going to be more of a celebration of Michael and his music, which I'm fine with. It doesn't have to be.
And that's what the Bruce Springsteen movie wasn't.
Exactly is what it sounds like to me, and I agree with that assessment from what I've heard. Yeah, that I don't like. But Nick, you've been awfully quiet. I don't even know if you're a Michael Jackson fan to begin with. So I'm not sure if this is even up your alley, because I know you're more of a rock and roll man, or a heavy metal man, I should say. But yeah, what's your feeling on this? What did you think of the trailer and all that business?
It looked pretty good. I'll check it out. I think it's definitely going to be a movie that's going to lean more towards people like me. And why I say that, very importantly, is because I don't have like this vast wealth of knowledge on Michael Jackson. So because I guess you could say I'm a bit more normie towards him, I think I'll benefit from the story of the movie that much more than, let's just say, a super diehard fan. And I have to emphasize this point because I saw when I watched the trailer, it mentioned someone involved with this who did the Queen movie, Bohemian Rhapsody. I know a lot of people like that. I know a lot of people like that movie, but I know also many diehard Queen fans who thought, oh, it was okay. They missed this ground.
Yeah.
And I said, I get your point. I could see the validity in that, but I think that's kind of done intentionally, not as a way of like just pretend like it doesn't matter, but more so it's trying to be gateway normie friendly, not appeal to the diehards. So I feel like I have that advantage. I don't know if it will so much as appeal to the diehards. Maybe diehards will, but judging off what we've seen in history with the Queen movie, I have a feeling we're going to get a similar bit of a rhyme here. And I'm sure I'm going to like it. I did like the Elton John movie. What's it called? Rocket Man. I thought
that was much more accurate.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
And I've heard that about the Elton John movie, so I'll give this a shot when it comes out. I only have heard the singles, if you will, as far as Michael Jackson's concerned. I'm definitely very well aware. Which is most of his
music.
Well, see, that's the thing. I would like to think he has a lot more to his music than just the singles. I would like to
honestly. You're not wrong. Like some of the better tracks, like what Brian was mentioning earlier, like some of the Rob Tepper tracks, or however what his name was again. I had a fucking moment here.
Yeah,
Rob Temper chaps. Like a lot of those are some of the better songs that never even got released as singles, right? But I mean, there's some bangers in there that he could have released and he didn't. Because this is where I think Thriller is going to be the interesting part of this movie. Because Thriller, I think it was a documentary I saw about the making of it, and all the stuff I learned about Thriller was just kind of so cool. Because a lot of musicians nowadays have no idea how difficult it was to make an album back in the day. And what I mean is you have, and this is the same thing with movies, why I'm so sick and tired of long ass movies. It's like, guess what? You don't need to make the amount of music for a double album to make a good album. You just give me 10, 12 good songs, right? That's to me a good album. Back then they only had so much real estate on a record.
Yep.
And not only that, you had to put certain songs in certain places or you're going to fuck it all up because of how much bass or how much treble was in them and where they were placed on the album. So Thriller was put together in a way where there was about a half a dozen good songs that were left off because they just didn't have fucking room for them. You know what I mean? And they had to go, they went through, I think, some 80 some songs, I think, to get down to the last few that they did. So just all the shit they went through to get to Thriller and the songs that were chosen, how they were finally put together. And like, I love that scene in they show in the trailer, because that is pretty much what it was by the time they did the final recording for Thriller. Is like, we got everything put together. Now it's time for Michael to just throw his, tracks on there. And, there's little bits and pieces that I can already see as a fan that I know were kind of little in jokes where he's like, no dancing when you're singing, because that was a problem that Michael had. And not just that, because he would move away from the mic and all that kind of business. And then he would, use his body and he'd do all the slaps and stuff on his, and it would drive Quincy nuts. He'd be like, you can't fucking do that. Like,
just need your vocal. We can put the claps in after.
Yeah, but then there was something that they finally built Michael, and I'm sure they'll show this in the movie. They finally built Michael like this little false stage thing that he would stand on when he's singing. So he would stay in one place, but also when he does his stomps and stuff, it would pick it up in the mic on purpose because he wanted it there.
He wanted it, okay, yeah.
And then later on, he had more control, especially as he moved away from Quincy. So, like, I mean, and again, whether you like it or hate it, it's just a different kind of way he started doing his music. So, like, I think that they'll show a lot of that and how Michael would just pre-write a lot of this stuff that he wrote, but he would literally just sing it into a tape recorder. Right?
Yeah, because he couldn't read and write music, right?
No. But he was so musically, like, he just knew the songs in his head. He'd be like, okay, this is Billie Jean. And then he'd like do the drum beat himself. He'd be like,
yeah,
and then he'd come in with and this is the bass line. He'd go, and so you'd have this tape of him, like, just overdubbed a few times doing the music, and then he'd come in with and all that kind of stuff. It's just his voice, right?
Yeah,
and
that behind the scenes stuff was really amazing to watch. You see some of those clips, and
I have and they have a lot of those audio tracks on like those editions, like that Brian was showing earlier. I got like a special edition of Thriller that has a bunch of the bonus.
Yeah, you can see the talent that he had, right? Undisputable talent, that he's not a phony, like, someone gave him the song and then, and it didn't know anything, not a, one of those new, quote unquote produced pop stars with an auto tune. I mean, he did write Beat It on that album and Billie Jean. And,
Billie Jean Beat It and a couple other ones.
Want to Be Starting Something. I'm looking at it now. Yeah. And This Girl Is Mine with Paul McCartney. Yeah. So yeah, he's an undeniable talent, but he's got that tragic, the tragic upbringing. I guess they're going to maybe allude to some of that, but
they don't need to get to it too much though.
No, but I mean, they could allude, you can do it. I mean, you're talking about not having movies that are 6 hours long, but you can allude to it if the writing's good and you can just make like an offhanded comment, or there's a way to do it without doing a 10-minute flashback like they do, that some movies do.
Well, that's kind of all they really need to do is just kind of flashback to some stuff. And the reason I say that is there already is kind of the definitive Jackson 5 movie. I don't know if you guys remember this. I know Nick probably doesn't, but ABC did it like 25, 30 years ago, and Angela Bassett was in it and as Mrs. Jackson, and they did a pretty darn good job of covering all the early years of the Jackson 5. So if you really kind of want to, and most fans have seen that, so you don't really need to dive too deep into it. And a lot of it does kind of, I mean, how much does it really need to affect him later on in life is what all you need to really show, is my point. Like just
I mean, you just take some good writing to, you don't want to take away if you're going to make the movie to celebrate Jackson, but you also don't want to totally ignore anything that shaped him too. But I don't know how they would fit that in, but his upbringing in Hollywood, and in the music industry, and Hollywood type family. I mean, he had a really tough upbringing. You read about years later it came out how his dad, quote unquote, how he treated treated those kids. It's
and a lot of that's
Michael.
in that documentary, and that's
That
what I was
movie.
saying. Like,
Didn't was he still alive?
Yeah.
Was he alive when that came out, or did they complain?
Oh
about it?
yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
Oh yeah. No, well,
he was.
I see. The thing is I don't think Joe ever really denied doing a lot of that shit. Of course, he also would just say stuff like, that's just the way we raised kids back then. He'd be like, "What the fuck would you do with 7 or 8 kids? You're trying to keep them all under control." Like, right? I mean, part of it you can accept and understand because it was the time. And, some of his arguments you can kind of understand because he's like, it kept my kids off the fucking streets. I mean, it's true. It did, regardless of how hard of an ass he was. And you kind of look back on it and there's a lot more abusive people probably in the world. And a lot of the worst stuff come out from LaToya. And she, I think, embellished and made up a lot of shit that she said to kind of gain more attention. I could be wrong. But I mean, and this is being made in conjunction with the family. And I think that miniseries was as well because they used all the music and stuff.
Okay.
So for them to be able to do that kind of stuff, it usually means they worked with somebody, And it wasn't just the Jackson 5 music. They even did the early portion up through Thriller in that miniseries with Michael and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, the American Dream is what it's called, guys. And it is available on DVD. So you guys can get it. It's not like it hasn't been available. So, and I'm sure it's probably got to be on YouTube or someplace that you can watch it on streaming too.
Those TV movies are pretty easy to find.
And it's a really good 2-part documentary, or I keep calling it a documentary, biopic, but it's a TV movie. That's why I keep saying that, I think. Because it's just really well done, and you got a good cast in it and everything like that. So anyhow, that being said, I agree with you, Mecha J. Like, I guess it depends on how deep into it they want to get and who you want to believe in what stories, because that's the thing is there's some conflictingness to it. And I'm not going to stick up for Joe Jackson in any fucking way, shape, or form in that respect, if you want to get to that point of it. But, yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube, as Mecha J said.
And then, for anyone who's not old enough to remember, I mean, he was kind of like the next Elvis, the next. He was huge.
He was bigger
and then
than Elvis in a lot of ways because he actually was worldwide, is where Elvis was mainly U.S. So, yeah.
And then remember we went to what did he go with Brooke Shields on the day? It was like a huge deal when he took Brooke Shields.
Was that the Grammys or
the Grammys or one of the big award shows or the Oscars? I'm not sure, but must have been
I think
Grammys.
it was the Grammys because I remember Gallagher had the joke about, I gotta say it, even if it's about Michael Jackson, I gotta say about a little boy who runs around the country screaming "Beat It" with wearing one glove. He said he even took Brooke Shields to the Grammys and nobody said shit.
Yeah.
Even her name sounds like an anti-sexual device. Did you get any? No, she was wearing her Brooke Shields.
But I mean, he was nonstop, wall-to-wall coverage, and this is before the internet.
Oh, and he amped that shit up. I don't know if you guys heard about that, or later on they found out one of his. He would call, and he was really good at doing voices. Like Michael could do really good impressions, I guess, and the voice that he would use most of the time. The voice like this was kind of put on as well, I guess. Because I've heard other stuff where he's talking in a more normal voice and it doesn't sound so much like that. And yes, he's got a more higher tone voice, but he would do these voices and stuff. So I guess he would call it to like these tabloids. And he'd make most of this shit up himself under these 2 or 3 monikers.
Oh, he would do it?
Created.
Yeah, he would do it? Yeah.
Like he'd call and be like, yeah, I got some more stuff on Michael Jackson. Like, and he would do voices like it would sound like that. Like, I guess he was really good. And he would even trick people sometimes, I guess, doing voices of people that they knew. Like, he would do voices. Like, he would always call up, like, Brando and other people and fuck with them and shit like that, too. So, like, yeah. No, Michael was supposedly a character. That was one thing that most people didn't know about him, was how much of a trickster and a little prankster he was a lot of the time, too. But that was one thing with him and Freddie Mercury, speaking of the whole Bohemian Rhapsody, Michael Jackson connection. I don't know if you guys knew this or not. Initially, the song "A State of Shock" that he did with Mick Jagger was originally him and Freddie Mercury.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they were going to do 2 or 3 songs together, and halfway through the sessions, Freddie's like, "I got to get the fuck out of here." He called his agent, and he's like, "Why?" He's like, "This Michael guy's fucking nuts. He just brought a fucking goat to the goddamn session, or a llama, one of the two, a goat or a llama." And Michael brought it in because he felt he needed it for inspiration or some stupid shit. You know, it's just Michael Jackson being Michael Jackson.
Yeah, yeah.
Because people got to understand, this guy lived such a sheltered
With the
fucking
chimp.
life. And when people say, you know, hey, I want a fucking llama, they're like, well, of course you want a llama. You're Michael Jackson. They make sure you get a llama. You know, like,
Yeah, you can get whatever you want. You get more money than you know what to do with, right? So
right. And then you
No one's gonna
understand
say
why
no.
Prince never worked with him. But like Prince is just as fucking insane. So because he's got an equal llama story, I heard. But like, yeah.
I mean, no, but I mean, I could see where you get that money. I mean, well, of course, great artists typically have some kind of quirk or, you know, there's something that creative gene, you know, also makes you kind of half crazy in some ways. But, you know, if I had unlimited funds, I'd be living in the replica of the Starship Enterprise right now, right? I mean, you know, give me Michael Jackson amount of money.
Well, that's
wouldn't
where
be
I think
Neverland.
people don't really understand Neverland, right? Like, and he was his own worst enemy with that because, like, even when he said, you know, he, you know, let people sleep in his own bed in his own room, like, you know, like Macaulay Culkin came out afterwards and he's like, you guys don't realize how big Michael Jackson's room is. Like,
5,000 square feet or something.
Is bigger than most people's houses. He's like, it's like a dual level like area with like an arcade and there's like a loft area
Movie
where like
theater.
the actual bed is. And like Michael says, you know, he would sleep in the couch or whatever. Like the couch is actually like downstairs and it's like a fold out expensive fucking couch and shit like that. So I guess that's actually what it was. So like people misinterpreted when he would say like those things, like, because his room compared to like what normal people consider a room in quotations is most people's houses. Like,
Yeah.
that's my understanding.
The bathroom is bigger than my house. Yeah.
Probably. Like, that's what people don't understand. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like 3 indoor pools and shit in Neverland either. That's the other thing. I don't think they've sold it yet. See, like, I think it's been sitting pretty much dormant for a while. I know they had to relocate a bunch of the animals, I think. No, it's been a while
for
since
a
I
while
checked
he
into
was
this,
up
but,
on
like,
the money situation wasn't good, I think, for a while too. But,
well, this goes into the whole controversy of what happened between him and Sony, and I don't know how deep I can really get into the conspiracy of it all without getting myself either shut down or in trouble in some way. But like the rumors and everything that flew was that, you know, his last few albums didn't do as well, but that was because Sony didn't really promote him, and that's true. But the whole thing was that Sony was trying to bankrupt his ass, was the rumor or the conspiracy, so that he would sell off his music rights. Because for those who don't know, there was a time when Michael Jackson owned more music rights than any conglomerate in the world.
he owned the
Like,
Beatles.
not just a person.
catalog.
He owned more than any corporation, anybody, because of all the shit that he had bought. And so Sony really wanted to get their hands on that music. Sony BMG did.
And that was brilliant too, by the way. That was extremely brilliant to buy all the right. He kind of foretold that too, because now all the artists are they're selling their rights.
Yep.
You know.
Well, that was Paul McCartney who told it to him, and that's kind of what came between them because of the whole Beatles sale. I'm sure most people know that story, but yeah. Michael was a businessman. He was a shrewd businessman too. So yeah, he would not fuck around too much. That's why I don't believe he was ever as broke as most people say he was. I think he was being bled by so many people, manipulated by so many people. I mean, even the Beatles found out later that they made a hell of a lot more money than they ever got. Right? Like I don't know if you heard about that story, but they realized they only got like a fraction of what they actually made because of that fucking manager they had. That screwed even the Stones and all those
the
other
Stones
people
manager.
over.
Yeah, well, that was at the end of their career, but I think.
Yep.
No, I don't think they actually. No, I don't think they actually ever hired him. I think that was because Paul McCartney wanted to have his family come in and manage the band, and I think, or maybe it was a very short time, but he ended up going to prison.
Right. But it was somebody screwed him over at some point.
Yeah,
They
the
found out
Stones
that, like,
got really totally.
Well, the Stones did
screwed.
too, but Beatles really did too. They found out later on, but it was like because they were making so much money, nobody thought to ask, right? Like, you know, when you're making more money than God, you know, nobody notices everybody skimming off the top. You know, it's like the mob,
and
especially
the record companies are notoriously horrific towards the artists. You know.
Well, that's what you got to understand is most of the time when these artists get involved in these companies, when they give you your first, they give you a signing bonus sometimes, but then after that, you got to pay attention to what they're giving you, because the money they give you a lot of times is an upfront. It's not like they're just giving you money, and a lot of these artists don't realize that. So they get this big fat paycheck from the studio, right? And they'll think, oh, this is money I just made. So then they'll go out and spend all that money. And then they go back and they go, well, I need some more money. And then the record company goes, well, you owe us money.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean I owe you money? Like, yeah, you owe us like fucking $30,000 or $40,000 or whatever it is above their signing bonus. So like, well, I thought that was money for my bonus. They're like, no, that was an advance on your album that you owe us that's late.
Yeah.
Almost like being business savvy is just as important as being creative. If you are yourself are not business savvy, get someone involved who you can trust. That is.
Because then the next step is, well, now you need to go on tour so you can pay us back.
Well, just wait. My brother's gonna write you a traveler's check, and he usually writes that check with the car running.
Pay your bills, and then also whatever money you owe for whether it's recording or for us to make merch. All that money
they charge you for everything.
You have to pay it all back, and they get the bulk. A lot of those companies, especially on the major labels, whether it's Virgin, Atlantic, Epic, yada yada, they get the bulk of, and it's spread out between so many middlemen too. And sometimes you still even got to pay the producers, the engineers. And you sometimes have to pay them for royalties if the album, especially if the album does really well. That's why sometimes some bigger names will like remix or remaster the albums simply so they don't have to pay certain personalities. And that's
because they don't
why
own the master either is another reason for that.
That gets them to own it, and that gets them the ownership to do that by changing it. Yep.
Which is why, and most people know this now, but at the time, people were like, "What the fuck?" When Prince changed his name to a symbol. That whole thing was just about to be able to renegotiate his record contract with Warner Brothers because he found out he did not own the original masters. And that pissed him off. And honestly, as we've learned in some cases here, the original masters, not always, but in some cases, might be in better hands with their original owners, the original creators, than they are with the studios. Because, like, they're getting burnt up.
Don't put them next to the King Kong ride.
No shit.
Don't store them properly, right? Yeah.
Yeah, let's see what else you guys are talking about out there in the chat, though. Looking forward to this movie, but we won't know more for a while. But Soul Nightmare points out that Universal is throwing their hat in the ring. I saw that they're putting together a team to kind of go through Warner Brothers books or whatever it is. So I'm not surprised, but I'm curious what they're going to be able to do because again, they can't. I don't think they can buy the music. Because Universal is one of the three companies that owns all the music already, and so is Warner Brothers. So at that point, that I believe would become a monopoly issue, or an unfair practice issue. As far as the other stuff goes with Universal, I think they're okay. I think just about everything else they should be okay with, but I don't want any more conglomerations. I don't want any more studios buying other studios. I think you need at least 4 or 5 major studios competing with each other, or it's just all going to become the same shit. And then pretty soon there's only going to be like 2 companies. And that's it. I mean, I'm not a fan of this idea at all. So like, I'm sure most people know that, there's been a lot of talk about Warner Brothers selling to somebody, but we'll see what actually happens here. Although I have said that Universal would be probably one of the more friendly considerations because they do work closely with Warner Brothers on so many things that I'm sure they already have a lot of friends in common or what have you. But again, this is just going to end up making, one less studio. And Warner Brothers is a major studio. One of the last ones who can compete with Disney. And they're the only ones winning right now. So... yeah, we'll see how that rolls.
More competition is better. I mean, you need, as much as I'm a capitalist SOB, but you don't want to have monopolies where you've only got, look what happened with cable for years. Now, cable's, gone by the wayside thanks to the internet, but
Warner played
for
a
long
role in
time,
that shit too.
But for a long time, you can only have, who do you complain to? The cable company, right? Well, where else are you going to go, sucker? But, the less movie studios you have, then everything just becomes generic, by the numbers movies. And,
what do you think we're dealing with right now?
That's what we're doing right now. So it could only get worse. But they've been doing pretty well, their track record.
Well, they're one of the only studios still kind of taking chances.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that's where Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca, especially Mike DeLuca, come into play, because he's somebody I've talked about quite a bit over the years, and he comes from the New Line side of things, and he was one of Robert Shea's main guys, and yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens if this does go down or if anybody does buy it. But thank you for that, Soul Nightmare. And we got another one from him. It says they only want the studios, not the networks. Yeah, that makes sense. They want the IPs.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really care about anything else. And that's what I mean. It's just going to become kind of like with Disney and Fox all over again.
Yep. So it's gonna be interesting how it plays out. But that's just the nature of business too. Like you want to accumulate other businesses or take out your competition or buy out the competition. So it's just the natural. That's the invisible hand, right? Adam Smith.
Yeah.
That's just the way things. That's the way things work. And then you've got government in there balancing. Like, do we want all these monopolies or when they when Jimmy Carter deregulated the airline industry. One of the few good things that he did, we do have a lot cheaper prices, but now it's cycling down where now they're charging you for your bags and a little, if you want peanuts on your flight, that's going to cost you $20. So, it cycles through, but Hollywood's just, I mean, the box office I was reading an article in Variety, the box office in October was way down, and it's still way down from before the pandemic. So never really recovered. So one less studio. I want more creative ideas out there, and it's just not happening that often with these current studios. So.
Yeah, and then ActionCom says, "See the Sydney Sweeney GQ interview." No, I did not.
I did. Basically, I'll give you a long story short of it. She was asked questions about the political climate, and she said that, well, if there's an issue that I feel very passionate about, I'll speak about that issue when I feel the time is right. Then they asked her about the and that was in response to the whole, the jeans, you're promoting this stuff and this bad client. So she had a very nice, intelligent way of responding to it. And then they asked her how she felt about Trump and Vance taking notice, and she just said it was surreal. It was very well professional of her. Obviously, there's great obvious reason to acknowledge Sydney Sweeney, but I think we gotta give her credit for some no one has given her credit. She is very smart at playing the game. She knows how to answer these questions, not give a take. She just has fun, just is a total professional about it. I don't know if that's her or she has a really good agent, but how she's playing the game is really good, because every time I've seen her in her interview, she comes off very likable, very nice, and it feels like it is her. It doesn't feel like I'm putting on like a persona or a person that you think I am on the carpet. It feels authentic from her. So, yeah. I mean, if you want to look at it, there's a few clips out there, like 30 seconds long each, but that's really the gist of it.
Yeah, you summed it up really well, because I saw some of those clips. Yeah, but the interviewer, someone was saying the interviewer was woke crazy. She's like, as a white person, you shouldn't be, talking about racial superiority. She's like, when I have something to say about that, I'll say it. She kind of just ignored it. It's just it's a freaking jeans commercial. It's like it was a joke, obviously. Like, of course she's got.
It was jeans. Never, but yeah. But the thing is, people chose to make it about that, even though it had nothing to do with that. It was supposed to be the whole get it jeans, but of course they wanted to make it because they needed that to be true in their mind.
Nazism.
So,
oh my God,
it's not this is why I reject that mentality of, well, it's not, you can't, it's how people interpret it. I can't control how people think. So I'm not going to be responsible for people who go out of their way to make every little thing I say a problem. So I'm not going to accept that mentality. So this is why I reject that concept. Well, you gotta watch what you say, because it's not what you say, it's how someone interprets it. Fuck off, assholes. All right, eat shit. Now that's direct. Eat shit.
Mr. Geek Me Out wants to know what we thought of the remake of Naked. I wouldn't call it a remake. It's more of a rebootquel.
Basically like a sequel.
Yeah, rebootquel, kind of thing.
Yeah. His
I
son,
watched
yeah.
it again last week, and that's why I starred this. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but what did you think of
I've seen
Nick?
it.
Nick,
Go ahead,
did you
Mark.
see it yet?
I did
Oh,
not.
Nick said-
I just
oh, you didn't
got
see it.
around. I just finally got around to seeing Weapons in the last few days. So
I haven't seen that yet either. So.
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed
Mark,
it. But
what'd you
go
think
ahead,
about
Mark.
it?
Talk
Yeah, I
about
thought it had some
Naked Gun.
fun. Yeah, it had some fun laughs. I like the opening. I thought the opening was hysterical, and I thought he did a good job. He's playing Drebin's son. So I mean, yeah, and Pamela Anderson's pretty good. It's like for a streaming movie, it's fun, right? I mean, it doesn't the original. You're never gonna touch the original. Like I was saying before, did it need to be made? Probably not, but it's short, right? So that's a good thing about it. And I had fun. There were some good laughs with it. So, and it's silly, that silly airplane humor, which I love. So, if you like that kind of movie, you liked it more the second time around?
The second time around, yeah.
Ooh.
I even caught a lot of stuff I didn't catch the first time. And one thing I really like about the movie, and I kind of will, I know it's kind of sacrilegious to say, I think it might even be better than the first two sequels. And the reason I say that is because this movie actually finally takes the police squad gang back into the police squad world. Because that was my big issue with the movies to begin with, because I grew up on the police squad TV show, and if you've ever seen that show takes place in the same kind of universe that Airplane does, where everybody's in on the joke. You know what I mean? But in the movies, in the Naked Gun movies, my issue with them is it feels like they took the police squad crew and threw them into the real world, to where everybody else around them is smart, and they're just a bunch of idiots or whatever.
Oh, they don't get the
fuck-ups.
joke, right? Yeah,
And or they're like Clouseaus or whatever. Like Drebin comes off as more of a Clouseau in the movies than he does in the TV show. Which that's what I love about Liam Neeson in the new movie and the way the world works, because it's more like that world again, where in the movie, in the world, Liam Neeson's like a hard-ass Dirty Harry kind of cop, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, he's a complete fucking idiot. like to us, that's the joke, right?
Yeah.
But in his world, he's that cop that's going too far with the force, just like Dirty Harry. It's like, and the world plays into that like it's supposed to, and you don't have all the stupid, reactionary shit, because everybody else is just is in the same world. They're on the same joke, or however you want to put it. Like honestly, I thought it was much more entertaining the second time around. And I mean, look, there's some people who say it feels like modern slop, and I'm not even that big of a Seth MacFarlane fan. And I know the guy who directed it, the last movie he did, wasn't that great either. But
yeah. Well, the O.J. Simpson joke was hysterical. With the photos
Superior Name. This is what I mean by growing up on it. They showed it every fucking year on TV. It's 6 episodes. So every summer, like CBS would show it for because until they made the movies, and then even after they made the movies, they kept showing it even more, I think. And we get shown all the time. And so growing up on it in quotations to me, it was no different than seeing the movies. And in fact, they steal a lot of the same jokes from the show into the movie. So I love.
Well, it's
the
like
film,
saying
don't get me
Gilligan's
wrong,
Island or the Brady Bunch. It was always on for 50.
It was it was always
growing
there.
up. It was something, even though that series was only one season or so short, but it was one
only
of those
6
shows.
And Comedy Central would show it sometimes too. I think it was.
Yeah. But there's certain shows that everyone had back before streaming, before the dark, before cable. Around here, I grew up in the Northeast. You had Gilligan's Island, Brady Bunch, Happy Days, I guess. But the reruns were all the same. The same shows, so everyone knew those shows inside and out because they were on after school or during the summer or whatever. So certain shows, the Partridge Family, that everyone watched because you had no other choice, right? You had no VHS, right? Grew up before there was VHS, so you just had to watch what was on those 3 channels, or in the New York area we had 3 networks, and we had Channel 9 and Channel 11 and 13 channel. Well, PBS, right? So you had 6 channels, really 5, was something that you could watch. So everyone knew all the TV shows, So
and what they would do is they'd usually show 3 of them one night and 3 of them the next night or whatever it was, and stuff like that. And my cousins had them taped and all that business. So You know, to me, it was like the movies. And then when I finally saw the movie, I'm like, this is the same as the show. And I just didn't dig it. So I never really watched the sequels all that much. I've seen them, but it's been years. But anyhow, with that, we're going to leave out with a trailer sent to us by accident. I think it was, what the hell is this? Damn. See, he has two different names. ActionCom, that's who it was. Yes. Sent us this. So here we go.
Well, I hope I'm not disturbing anything.
Oh, this is my Doc. My uncle, Doc Brown. You sent me a letter. Who the hell is Clara?
All you had to say is I don't love you and I don't want to see you anymore.
Have you ever been in a situation where you knew you had to act a certain way, but when you got there, you didn't know if you could go through with it? Hell, I'm in it with you and I don't even understand it.
I have to live my life according to what I believe is right.
I've seen these before, yeah. Thanks for that, ActionCom. We appreciate it. And with that, thank you to all the super chatters, the supporters of the channel, all you who watched. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Nick, anything you got coming up that you want to promote real quick?
Yeah. Not by me directly, but my crew over at Bonded by Metal, they just put out a video right now, a beginner's guide to some heavy metal bands. So if you're not subscribed to Bonded by Metal, my boys Pope Metallicus and Disciple Rock did that video. Now, I myself will have Clobby's Comic Shop on Saturday night. And, of course, Toxic Tuesday, which is back on YouTube. Keywords, back on YouTube. Resumes this Tuesday. And we'll be talking the 007 flick, The World Is Not Enough. So, please make sure you're sub to my channel for those who missed Toxic Tuesday on YouTube. We are back, baby. It's been a fun show. Let's hope that we can get some good movies in the future. Until then, we got some badass Bond movies to talk about. Thanks for having me. It's been good to hang out with you and the boys, as I'm always hanging out with the boys. Thank you, and thanks for being here, chat.
Mark, what you got going on?
Yeah, well, we got Sunday Night Geekery on Sunday night at 10 p.m. And don't forget, Darth Pumpkin is always watching. You know me and my 3D creation. So that was my one of my favorites for Halloween. But yeah, catch you on Sunday night. And also Friday night, late night Fortnite. The Simpsons are in Fortnite, which is pretty awesome. So that's been fun with this new season. So yeah, the chat was awesome tonight. A lot of fun. And yeah, great hanging out with you guys. So catch you on the next one.
Yeah. And thanks to Brian as well for being here tonight. And thanks to all the mods for all your help. Take care of yourselves and each other. And we'll see you next time.
Cute kitty.